Sandy Shore here on board the Smooth Jazz Cruise West Coast. We are heading back right now to San Diego, California. We've had a wonderful week, and sitting here with me in the kiddie room is Mr. Alonzo Bodden.
Good morning. You know, oddly, I got stung by a stingray this week. A stingray caught me on the foot, and I learned that maybe I shouldn't be in Mexican resort waters. Maybe I should be working since I'm here free, supposed to do interviews and stuff like that. Maybe I shouldn't be frolicking in the ocean, and I wouldn't get stung by a stingray. But that's just something I learned. I don't know if that applies.
And here I was thinking this was going to go smooth today for some reason.
It was just something I thought about. That no, this was we had a good week, right? We went to Mexico. Ramon Islas was so happy. He spent all his money calling Sheila E. saying, I'm home, and she was like, leave me alone. But he couldn't help it. He was so excited to be back.
Okay.
You're not supposed to laugh at that, don't you?
I just said this is the hardest interview I do because I cannot think on my feet next to the man who is hilarious.
The music has been amazing. What I always love when Marcus and David Sanborn do a show. I think the coolest shows this week, all due respect to all the other musicians on board, had to be the late nights with Earl Klugh. Earl has a vibe to him that's just so... mellow's the wrong word, but it's just like he's so good that everybody's silently listening. And I don't know if you went to his shows, but his first show, Norman Brown just kind of sat in and played on one, and Marcus played on a couple, and that was really cool. And you know, they're awarding him and David Sanborn, and you know, posthumously they're Grover Washington Jr., but they're inducting them into this Smooth Jazz Hall of Fame.
Right.
So here's the lesson, kids: if you want to make it in smooth jazz, stand in one place. Do you notice that Dave Sanborn and Earl Klugh, no running, no jumping, just stand in one place and play music so we can keep an eye on you? That's all I'm saying.
Well, you know, it's more about the music than it is the theatrics, don't you think?
Yeah, it is. But some people put on great shows. BC, Brian Culbertson's show, is super high energy.
It is.
Richard Elliott, you know why I love Richard's show? For one thing, we don't know how many Elliots there are. There are somewhere between 20 and 30 random Elliots running around. They're children, and they're all, now we're finding out they're all musicians. Richard literally lives in the midst of a big band or something.
That's true.
Yeah.
I saw that this week.
No, it was great. What I love about Richard Elliott's show is Richard always works in some jazz that you don't expect. You know what I mean? So like this, on this cruise, when he played Birdland, which a lot of people, it's funny, they're like, I've heard that. Like, they don't even know who Weather Report is. And this is the second time he's done Weather Report with his daughter. Mm-hmm. His daughter plays bass, and she does a lot of Jaco stuff. And I told her, you might want to learn some Marcus Miller. I'm just saying, you're hanging out on this cruise playing Jaco. Marcus is like, that kid ain't coming back. So
the Tower of Power show was a tremendous highlight, wasn't it?
Tower of Power was unbelievable. Literally every horn on the ship got in on Tower of Power. And here's the interesting thing. Larry Braggs is the one leaving. So Emilio's like, I want singers. Why do I have horn players? No singers want to audition for the band? I got 200 horns. But it was great. Doc is so cool. You know how old Doc is? Doc was old when David Sanborn started playing saxophone. That's how old Doc is. Doc was great. That band is, when you talk about iconic,
yes,
Tower of Power, and again, when Richard Elliott, who used to be in the band,
right,
it was funny because when he stepped up, he still knew all the steps. He knew all the dance steps. Yeah. Huge Groove used to be in the band too, but Huge apparently got rusty on the dancing. But no, that was an amazing show. Tower was truly a highlight. You know, it was a special night. We spent the night in Puerto Vallarta to go to Walmart and to listen to Tower of Power, and both things worked out.
When we arrived in Puerto Vallarta, there was a Sam's Club right across from the pier, wasn't there?
Sam's Club and Walmart. Yeah. We sailed for 2 days to go to a Walmart in a Mexican neighborhood, which I can do every day back home in L.A.
And every single horn player on board this ship played with Tower of Power that night. And we have this on video, so go looking for that in the YouTube channel here.
It was great. No, 2 didn't play. Two took off.
Who was that?
Tom Braxton and Patches.
Oh, yeah.
Only because they had to play in every other show. They were like, finally, there's enough horns, we can relax, because those guys work hard. But they're both phenomenal. And they have a band going that, I don't know if you ever saw Mo Better Blues.
I did.
But like, when Patches and Tom were playing, and I was going to yell, Bleak! Bleak! Because it had such a vibe of Mo Better Blues. It was very cool. It's an Ocean Bar show, which is another thing. I don't know if they talk about the smaller shows. The Ocean Bar is on the 3rd floor, and the Queen's Lounge, which Queen's Lounge, seats maybe 200?
Yeah, it's very intimate.
They pack about 400 in there, but those shows are great because it's a lot more intimate, and sometimes it's the artists you may not know or up and coming.
That's
Jakeem
right.
Joyner plays a lot in the Ocean Bar, and now Selena Albright. It's this second generation thing. Apparently parents get tired of paying for their kids, so Gerald said, look, you ain't hanging around here anymore, you go sing and do your own show. And the Elliott kids are learning the same thing, and they're young. They're young. Michaela's only like 15, and he's already got her fronting the band. She's out the house at 18.
The Oceans Bar is great because you have a nice opportunity to have a beverage, meet up with your friends on board, and see some amazing music. We were hanging out for Jakeem Joyner last night. It was such a good show.
You say a nice opportunity to have a beverage as if they're not serving drinks everywhere on this ship.
With friends, I said.
There is nowhere you can go. And you know what I love? Yesterday, people claiming they were a little seasick. Been drinking for 5 days, but I'm seasick. Really? Is that it? It's the movement to the ocean? It's not the... Yeah, okay.
It's the tequila.
We pretend. We listen to their story. Oh, yeah, it's the seasick. Yeah, that gallon of Patron, that did nothing.
And unfortunately, it probably wasn't Patron. We have some good news and some bad news for you. The good news is that we've got cabins available on 2015. The bad news is 2014 is sold out. 2014
has been sold out. That's going to be great. And 2015 is like 80% sold already. So if you want to cruise with Natalie Cole, you better get it together quick and buy your cabin. That cruise is going to be amazing. I think Larry Braggs is going to be on as soloist, like Tower of Power. He's leaving the band.
Yeah.
So we're going to have him. Who else is going to be on here? I think we have...
We've got Candy
some
coming back.
Well, we have the veterans who are always here, like Candy and Richard Elliott's going to be here, and of course Marcus and Dave Sanborn and Boney James and Brian Culbertson. But I think there's going to be a few other new artists who haven't cruised with us before who are going to be coming. We're going to be in the Caribbean, so once again, Ramon Islas will be somewhat disappointed. I don't think he has a passport, so he doesn't get off the boat. Just here in Mexico, he blends in. DW3 will be here, the hardest working band. DW3 works so hard that the room stewards walk around like, I'm glad I'm not DW3. That's how much work they do, so they'll be here.
So get your cabin as soon as you can at thesmoothjazzcruise.com because they're going to go really fast. It's an amazing opportunity to have a vacation and see all of this incredible music and hang out with Alonzo, and definitely stay out of the frolicking of the ocean, especially when you have work to do.
Yeah, if you're supposed to be working, then you don't frolic. There's two separate things, and you got wounded. I was joking, for those who don't know. Do they know what happened?
I haven't said anything.
Sandy was wounded in action. She was stung by what was it? A
stingray.
A stingray. A stingray stung her, and apparently they got the name Stingray for a reason, didn't they?
Yes, I did. I didn't do my homework.
She was in pain, and we cared for minutes, and then it became funny.
Catch Alonzo at alonzobodden.com. You're way into Twitter and Facebook.
Yes, I do tweet. I even tweet from the ship, where it costs like $45 to send each one. But, I'm not supposed to say that out loud.
But it's worth it because it's funny.
It is worth it, and we've had a great week. And I got great pictures this week. I got pictures hanging out with Doc. I got pictures backstage with Earl Klugh and Marcus, and I got a great picture of Boney James and Dave Sanborn. That's a lot of sax hanging out with those two. I thought I had a picture of BC with no hair gel, but that ain't gonna happen.
Just a cap this time.
Yeah, he does wear the hat when
That's new. Have you noticed?
You notice the thing with the hats is like they're used to go undercover both ways. When Brian Culbertson doesn't want you to know who he is, he puts a hat on.
Right.
When Marcus Miller doesn't want you to know who he is, he takes the hat off.
That's true.
And Boney is somewhere in between. I don't think Boney can play saxophone without a hat on.
No, he can't.
Yeah, I think he has to put the hat on to play. It's some kind of weird connection.
This is hat psychology for you.
It really is. But
this is how you spend your day.
I notice things. It's my job. I can't play a horn.
For more observations and fun stuff like that, check out alonzobodden.com. And for everything else to do with the Smooth Jazz Cruise, it's on the website, it's on Facebook, and for smooth travel tips, go to smoothtravel.net. I'm Sandy Shore for smoothjazz.com.